Hi guys, so Dominic Raab, the Justice Secretary, appeared on the Today programme with Nick Robinson, and he was surprisingly challenged by the journalist. Raab tried to defend his boss's allegations in the House of Commons on Monday that Keir Starmer refused to prosecute Jimmy Saville. Now this is a right-wing meme that has been doing the rounds ever since Starmer began to make a name for himself in the Labour Party. Boris Johnson was really scraping the bottom of the barrel, but he knew that parliamentary privilege would let him get away with lying. Anyway, listen to the car crash of an interview where Dominic Raab attempts to redirect the conversation and fails.
You are, as I say, not just Deputy Prime Minister, but Justice Secretary. The Prime Minister made an extraordinary and baseless allegation against Sir Keir Starmer yesterday. Without parliamentary privilege, would you repeat that allegation against Keir Starmer?
Look, you're talking to the comment that he made about prosecuting journalists and not prosecuting Jimmy Saville. This is the cut and thrust of parliamentary debates.
So this is the cut and thrust of parliamentary debates. Isn't it interesting? That's a wonderful response. The cut and thrust of parliament. So Boris Johnson can lie, can make baseless allegations, and get away with it because he knows he will be protected by parliamentary privilege. Maybe, Ian Blackford should have stood up and said, "I'm sorry, Speaker of the House, this is the cut and thrust of parliamentary debate. I'm telling the truth about Boris Johnson. I know it's a problem for you, but this is just the cut and thrust of parliamentary debate." Look, Dominic Raab is a lawyer. Believe it or not, I had to double check on Wikipedia, but he is a lawyer, okay? But he knows that Boris Johnson can lie, can make all sorts of allegations against people in the House of Commons and get away with it because he's protected. He's in a bubble. Boris Johnson would not say the same thing outside the House of Commons because he knows he could be taken to court over it. And Dominic Raab is not repeating what Boris Johnson said because he knows that if he did, he could be taken to court over this. But he will repeat it in the House of Commons because he knows he can get away with it.
Exchanges.
Also an allegation that the former Director of Public Prosecutions, a man knighted for his work, protected a serial sex offender. Well, You're saying is the normal cut and thrust of British politics?
No, look, I'm certainly not repeating it. I don't have the facts.
Well, why don't you repeat it if the Prime Minister believes it? Why wouldn't you repeat it?
Look, I'm not repeating it. One thing I would say, though, Nick...
No.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister of this country...
I don't have the facts to justify that.
Well, does he have the facts?
Well, that's for him to be... But all I'm saying is
does any minister have evidence of what the Prime Minister said under the protection of parliamentary privilege?
I haven't done a trawl of ministers to check that. What I'm saying...
He knows that they don't. He knows that it's a lie, but he knows that Boris Johnson can get away with it. That's why he's trying to change the subject. He's trying to, let's start talking about something else. Because I can't defend Boris Johnson here, because I'm not in Parliament. I'm in a studio, in a BBC studio, so I can't say that Boris Johnson was ragged here, because then I'd actually have to provide evidence, and then I'd be in serious trouble.
Is that I can't...
Well, we can get him in if you like. You are his deputy. Okay. Who else do you want me to ask?
So, well, Nick, you can ask me, and I'm saying I can't substantiate that. I think that the cut and thrust of exchanges between the PM and the Leader of the Opposition... One thing I would say, though...
No. We're not going to move on from this.
No, I don't want to move on. I think it is quite right, though, as we talk about leadership, to look at Keir Starmer's...
Oh, no, let's not go
between 2008 and 2013.
No, we're not going to do that, Mr. Rob, because it's very obvious what you're doing. This is a
conviction rate.
Look, he's trying to move on. Let's start talking about Keir Starmer. Let's stop talking about Boris Johnson and Boris Johnson abusing his privilege to make baseless accusations against the Leader of the Opposition. Once again, if Boris Johnson truly believed it, he would have no problem saying it outside of Parliament. That's very important to remember. Now, this accusation, it says here, once again, I'll use full fact, and I'll leave a link in the description. Keir Starmer stopped Jimmy Saville being charged in 2009. So the verdict from this website is Mr. Starmer was head of the CPS when the decision was made not to prosecute Saville, but he was not the reviewing lawyer for the case. An official investigation commissioned later by Starmer criticised both prosecutors and police for their handling of the allegations. It says here, I just want to read this part. Mr. Starmer was the head of the Crown Prosecution Service when the decision not to prosecute Saville was made on the grounds of insufficient evidence. The allegations against Saville were dealt with by local police and a reviewing lawyer for the CPS. So Starmer was not the guy who said, don't do it. This case was handed over to local police, and a reviewing lawyer decided we're not going to charge Jimmy Saville. So, and Starmer later started an investigation into this. So it's not that Starmer didn't want to prosecute or to charge Jimmy Saville. It was not his business, and he later started an investigation into why it happened. Keir Starmer's hands are clean here, or pretty much clean, but he's not as Boris Johnson tried to push in the House of Commons on Monday. He's not defending Jimmy Saville and attacking journalists. There is somebody who did, how can I say, have dirty hands when it came to getting a journalist beaten up. But I better not say who that is because I don't have parliamentary privilege. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.